Welcome into another exciting edition of Locked On 76ers. He's Keith Pompey. I'm Marc Farzetta. Thresholds, Keith. That's the buzzword. It was checking boxes. It was ramping up. But now Joel Embiid apparently crossing thresholds. Tell you about that and more on this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Keith, let's go through this. You had asked about thresholds. You had asked about bouncing back from the scrimmage. How would Joel Embiid and his heating pad respond after the scrimmage? And Nick Nurse addressed the media yesterday at practice and said thresholds are being crossed, and he wouldn't rule out Joel Embiid playing Friday, and he certainly wouldn't rule out Joel Embiid playing in the regular season opener. Your response, your reaction to Nick Nurse laying out the optimism, Keith, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the thing is, when I heard that, to me, this is me personally feeling the goal is for Joel to do both, right? Right now. And like, as we said, there's two things. One is you don't want to come out and say, hey, we hope that Joel can play in this game. And then all of a sudden, if he has a setback, meaning, they're swelling in the knee or what have you, you don't want to like, oh, well, Joel's not playing because of this. So what you do is, or you don't want Joel to feel like he's rushed to play in it. So you want to say, you know what, there's a chance, there's this, there's that. You want him to make that opportunity, like kind of sort of like, hey, the door is open. You don't have to walk through it if you don't want to. We're here for you. You can stand here or you can walk through the door, one of those type things, right?
Right.
So I feel like, right now, everything is trending the right way. And when they said there's thresholds he has to pass, those thresholds are he has to practice, go through certain things. We have to get up the next morning, monitor the knee to see if there's any swelling, see how he's feeling, and take it from there. But the sign is another threshold that he passed yesterday was, hey, look, he was playing in a one-on-one. He was straight dominating those ones with them. Beforehand, Joel Embiid was just standing there watching. So that lets you know that he is progressing to the way that they would like him to do, to progress.
Are you somewhat, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll say surprised. Are you somewhat surprised that he's as far along as he is? And if you are, is this obviously an encouraging thing for you?
Yeah, I am, because when we listened to him, this summer, when he talked about, he did that ESPN article, it was kind of seeming like it was doom and gloom, right?
Right,
so
absolutely.
Maybe like even, like it seemed doom and gloom. So you see this, it is encouraging. But at the same time, it's like, these are the boxes that you expect them to check, right? At one particular time. But based off, I will have to say, based off of that ESPN article, yes, it is encouraging that he's out there and he's doing things and that he's playing the right way. And the thing is, to me, I know it's one-on-one, and I know Paul George has been participating on one-on-one, but he hasn't been participating in like the scrimmaging and everything like that. But the fact that you see Joel doing it when we've seen him before, just dribbling the ball or holding the ball, laughing at people, getting scored on, that is extremely encouraging to me.
You go back to that article, and one of the positive things I took out of it, because I do agree, the most of it was like a doom and gloom. This is a bunch of fractured relationships that are trying to salvage something from it and all that. One thing I took away from it was the accountability of Joel Embiid. And I know some people might just jump out and laugh at that, but I don't, because this is him putting it all on him. They laid the groundwork in that article to talk about the trust issues that Joel Embiid had with this team over the years, through the Sam Hinkie era, through the GMs, and now with Daryl Morey being here. So he has taken the responsibility and taken ownership of his own rehab. There's no one else to blame. It's there. It's in print where he talked about him taking this at his own pace. Now, I will say the doom and gloom part of it was we're not going to see this guy till January. He's going to take it so slow that he's going to wait till the last possible second. And in a lot of cases, I'm still fine with that, because if that's what his body's telling him, if that's how he feels, then more power to you. Whatever Joel Embiid could do, the Sixers could do to make sure Joel Embiid could be at his as close to his best for the next 4 years of basketball, more power to him. So with that bar kind of being set around December and January, maybe plays around Christmas, for him to be out there first off, for him to be out there with that little video that was released now like a month ago, where we see him move around a little bit and look a little bit more svelte, and we go, 6 seconds, but all right, I'm interested. And then to see him thread a bounce pass to, I think it was a streaking Tyrese Maxey, or maybe VJ Edgecombe. Okay, good. And then a couple more photos come out that don't reveal his knee. Just trying to read the tea leaves, see him walk onto the plane, like little things here and there. And then all of a sudden he's out there for this scrimmage. Like, we're talking about not playing in a preseason game, but he's out there because it doesn't mean anything. Well, a scrimmage doesn't mean anything. It means even less, actually. And he's out there playing, dunking, getting his jumper in, facilitating. And now you have Nick Nurse talking about the possibility of him playing on Friday against the Timberwolves and the possibility of him playing in the season opener. I am so pleasantly surprised by the progress, the ramp up, the boxes being checked, the thresholds right now of Joel Embiid, that it's got me somewhat excited, but definitely intrigued, Keith, to what we could see from him this year in terms of his, not only his level of play, but his style of play, and the way it could change the way the 76ers attack the East this upcoming season. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, to me, it's two things. I think that this is a good step. I do believe that, I want to see what he can do against, outside of dunking on Andre Drummond, and there's no offense against Andre Drummond and Jabari Walker. I think that from a standpoint, that was good to say, okay, he's out there and we saw what he can do. Old Joel, no one would bat an eye to it. It's like, okay, he just dunked on him. But I think the excitement was because we haven't seen him for a while. We remember him getting benched in the fourth quarter of the last game he played and this and that. But to me, we're checking boxes here, right?
Mm-hmm. So,
I want to see what he can do against starter caliber NBA players. Like, now, my only question is, who's going to play in that back-to-back? Like, is Rudy Gobert going to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves? If so, I would love to see what Embiid could do against him for a couple possessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the next thing for me is with this whole style of play, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, I got to see it. I mean, I have to see if Joel Embiid is going to, when the going gets rough, is he going to be content in that role as a facilitator, setting up passes, doing all this other stuff, or is he going to get frustrated and revert back? And if that happens, how is he going to look? Is he still going to be able to take over games like he used to? So to me, all this stuff is great, but to me, there's different stages that I'm really eager to see. I want to see what he can do against better competition, better defense, and B, what's his role going to be when the going gets rough, and can he put the 76ers on his back and come down like we've seen in the past, several possessions where he comes down, boom, bucket, 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 bucket. Can he continue to do that? Those are the questions that I have. But again, there is some optimism with him just being out there. But again, I just want to know how impactful he's going to be.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things I find interesting about him being content, and that's a legitimate question in more of a facilitating role, is if you remember, I want to make sure I get this year right, 2022, 2023, he averaged 4.2 assists. Back-to-back years, he averaged 4.2 assists per game. The second time he did that, he was the MVP of the league. That was the year Joker won the championship. I remember the following season, Joel Embiid, when they faced off against it, or when the Nuggets and Sixers played each other, Joel Embiid going over to Joker and being like, "Hey man, you're the GOAT. You won the championship and you got the MVPs. Like, I'm trying to be more like you," that kind of thing. And that year, he went from 4.2 assists to 5.6 assists. So in terms of being content, now that's not 10 assists per game. That's not a near triple-double or anything. But the effort was there for Joel Embiid to try to be a little bit more of a facilitator. But that was 2 years ago. That was how many surgeries ago now for Joel Embiid?
Yeah, that was 2. So yeah.
So
2 surgeries ago. Yeah.
Will his, I don't want to call them limitations, but will his, for lack of a better word, will his new physical limitations now move that ball forward even more, push that idea forward even more of him being more of a facilitator, where maybe he goes from 4.2 assists, 5.6 assists, to maybe a guy that'll be looking for 7, 8 assists a game? I think my point is, for people saying, will he be content? And it's legit. I think there's already been an effort on his part to try to be more of that facilitator.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think so, but the thing is, it's kind of like there's an effort on his part to be more of a facilitator. But what we got to find out is, can he do more too? You know what I mean? Like, is this a limited? Does he feel like right now that this is where his role is? Does he feel like he can give you more? And if so, like, is he going to be content? That's the main thing, like you said. Is he going to be content with it? Because the Joel of the past, yeah, he did it for a time being, but then if your teammates start missing shots, oh brother, you know what I mean? It was like, yo, I got to take it in my own hands. You know what I mean?
I also want to point out, that year he averaged a career high 34.7 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as shots went, he averaged a career high 21.8 shots per game. So, yeah, the assists went up, sure, but so did the shots per game. So there you go. When we come back, some other good news coming out of this one, a player that we've talked about a lot, especially in the facilitating role, a guy that could potentially play the 4 spot as well, Tyrese Maxey's second best friend. Some good news on him. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. And right now, let me tell you about Monarch Money. You taking advantage of all Monarch Money has to offer? Well, I would certainly hope so, because they can help you with all your financial needs, whether it's your 401k, your properties, your investments. Some people don't even know the full value they have in any of these investments. Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's for busy people, busy lives. And if you put off organizing your finances, Monarch Money is here for you. Monarch doesn't just, do the heavy lifting for you. They help you with everything else as well, so you never have to touch a spreadsheet. Think about the vacation you want, the car you want to buy, sending the kids to college, paying off the house, whatever it might be. Monarch Money can help you organize your finances and also help you not let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. So use promo code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's right, 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with promo code LOCKEDONNBA. And let me tell you about the Gametime app. Nothing like the squeak of the sneakers at the arena, right? Gametime app gets you in. Basketball season just around the corner, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. And let's be real, getting tickets can be a total and complete headache. Between waiting for tickets to become available, how much they're going to be, Gametime app helps you with it all. That's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Absolutely love using the Gametime app because you can view your seat before you buy it, so you know exactly what you're buying. You literally take the guesswork out of buying tickets, and their zone deals are a total game changer. You pick the section, Gametime picks your seats, and you save big. You could find NBA tickets for under $25. So once again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNBA on the Gametime app for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. On the Gametime app, swipe, tap, ticket, go. Gametime. I don't know if it's a threshold, Keith, but Trendon Watford, the little baby steps forward here. The little mum was the word from Nick Nurse yesterday at practice, but what are you gathering from the Trendon Watford scene?
I mean, again, to me, I feel like that's something that you got to be 100% careful with. Like, and he's improving, he's doing everything, but they're going to need him. He's going to, even though he wasn't on the blue team, with the top 9 guys. Okay, well, you had 7 guys, top 7 guys in the rotation, and then you had Paul George and Jared McCain. I look at Trendon Watford as a guy who's going to be a very integral piece to the Sixers. I think that this is a big season for him. I mean, because let's face it, do we really know a lot about Trendon Watford? Do people know? They know that he's a good passer for the Brooklyn Nets team. He's a guy that wants to go out here. He's playing with his friend, so he's going to be in a great spot. So he's determined to show what he can do. And Nick Nurse wanted the Sixers to trade for him last year, and they didn't. So it was one of those things where he's here. So I think that it's one of those things where you have I'm not going to call him a Lamborghini, but you have a sports car that you really like. It needs an oil change. It needs some new tires on it right now. You want to make sure that you get everything right before you take the thing out the driveway and drive it, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Be careful with it. So, he's improving. They're continuing being cautious with him, but at the same time, we understand why. We understand why they do, and that's why guys like Bona and Barlow. And here's the thing. I do think that the thing that helped them out a little bit is that Barlow is impressing people. He's probably playing a little bit better than was expected to, right? He's showing he got this opportunity and he's taking it and he's excelling in it. And so the big question is can Bona stay out of foul trouble? Can Barlow continue to do the things he can? Can Jabari Walker come in and knock down shots? And then when Trendon Watford comes in, you feel like, okay, this just makes the team a whole lot deeper than what we expected.
They're trying to obviously manage this hamstring injury for him. And as you pointed out, this is something everyone knows with a hamstring injury. You got to be very careful. You could be feeling great and all of a sudden the wrong move and that's 2 weeks. That's 3 weeks, whatever it might be. So what exactly was he doing? How much stress are they putting on him when it comes to practice? How many thresholds, to use that word, how many thresholds has he crossed in the last week even?
I mean, when I was out there and I was seeing him, he was doing a couple of times he was out there shooting the ball. And then all of a sudden he would do some one-on-one drills with a coach. You know what I mean? Doing certain things like that. Again, it gets back to me that you test it a little bit, but you got to be 100% before you go out there and just throw it out there on 100 and just go, because then you can just, like you said, be careful. But I just think they're just being cautious because they can. What is it? They got what, 7 days before the season opener? And then after that, you have 2 more days off before you play the home opener. I don't know. I think it's trending the right way. Typically, when you have a hamstring like that, you're out for at least 2 weeks. Typically, at least, and then you start ramping it up. And I think that's the steps that we're going through now. He's probably in the second week of what is their ramp up phase. Now, again, it's the preseason. Right? If this was the regular season, I think that he probably would be a little bit further along, right? But the fact that it's the preseason, and I think that is all about the treatment, is about all the other things that's going on.
Overall, at practice yesterday, we talked about Trendon Watford just now. We talked about Joel Embiid. How much or how many thresholds has Paul George crossed, and what do you see in the near future for him?
I don't know too much about the PG thing, like in regards to, Paul's still doing what Paul does. We saw him out there doing one-on-ones. He's doing other things. I mean, I feel like the 76ers aren't coming out and saying it, but I would be shocked if, we're talking about Embiid playing in the preseason finale. I do not expect Paul George to play in there. I would be shocked if Paul George played in the season opener. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, the problem is the 76ers weren't really extremely transparent when it came down to his knee injury. They just said he had his knee scope. Well, what was it? I don't know, but what type of damage did he do to the knee? This happened in the summertime. Nobody was around, right? So what did he do to the knee? Evidently, it was something that they deemed that right at this particular time, he is not ready to play. And it's not like one of those things where, he's like where Joel is, where Trendon is. I mean, this guy doesn't even have a jersey on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when we went to the scrimmage, he didn't even have a jersey on. Like he just had on regular clothes. So, like regular sweats. So I think that Paul George is a little bit further behind everyone else.
Yeah, that's certainly, I think, the vibe that the Sixers are putting out right now. We're not in the essence of Daryl Morey giving a general be patient, but it's not happening Friday. It's not happening in the opener. I would doubt it happens in the home opener. And it looks like I think you're going to have to go a couple weeks here waiting for Paul George, unfortunately, to make his 2025-2026 season debut. When we come back, official, 76ers get their man, MarJon Beauchamp. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers and Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. And now it's time to tell you about the FanDuel app. Want to have some good times? Huh? Want to make your game days a little bit more exciting? FanDuel is where it's at. Download the FanDuel app by going to FanDuel.com. And how about this? New customers, this is what you get. You make a $5 bet. You win that $5 bet. And you also get $300 to use across the app in bonus bets. How about that with the FanDuel app? So download the FanDuel app at FanDuel.com to get started. I love how FanDuel makes it so many different ways to play. When you talk about building parlays, you talk about player props, for instance, even live lines as all the action is unfolding in front of you. Makes watching football, basketball, baseball, all that much more exciting. Playoff baseball as well. Come on. Whether it's a casual fan or whether you like to dive deep into the statistics, FanDuel makes every game day experience that much more exciting. So what are you waiting for? Head to FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started, where your first $5 bet, if it wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. So once again, head to FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started at FanDuel.com. Keith.
Yes.
MarJon Beauchamp.
Yeah.
MarJon. Now he's from Washington, so I don't mean to put too much French stank on it.
I mean, but it is a French name, right?
Well, here in Philly, it's going to be MarJon, like John.
MarJon. MarJon. My man. That's my man. That John could play. That MarJon could play.
What was the other word? What was Dunn? You remember that one? Get over here, Dunn. Did you ever hear that one?
Yeah.
I learned that one at basketball camp. Camp Newman basketball camp in Jamison, PA. Playing ball with a bunch of guys from Norristown, man. That was a good time. Hey, Dunn, what'd you call me? Anyway, that's also where I first heard the word John as well. But MarJon comes in here. Now, this contract is not an odd, I guess would be the call. How do you describe the way the Sixers have him on their roster now?
Well, he's an Exhibit 10 guy, so he's basically going to be on a G League team. He agreed to, it's funny. He agreed to it, and it was one of those things where they were concerned because of his caliber of a guy that maybe the Portland Trailblazers would say, hey, yeah, we gave you a good hard look. We didn't like what we saw, but man, maybe we may bring you back for a two-way, meaning he would be with the G League team and also with the NBA team, the Blazers. So the Sixers were a little concerned that would happen, but it never transpired. And so right now, what he has is now, not to say that he can't get elevated or he can't get plucked by another NBA team, but his contract is that, he can get up to like, what is $75,000 to play for a team's G League team if he's with that team for over 60 days. So, basically he's just getting a $75,000 bonus to be on the G League team, right? So what's probably going to happen is he's going to show up today. He's going to practice with the team. He may or may not play in the preseason game, and then he's going to get waived. And then he's going to be a part of the G League team, right? Now, the intriguing thing about him, though, is like we're talking about a guy, who was a first-round pick. He turned 25 on Sunday, right? He played for the Bucks. He played for the Clippers, so he played for the New York Knicks as a two-way player. So he does have some experience, in the NBA. Now, he's only averaged 4.1 points, 1.9 rebounds in 10.9 minutes in 135 games. But when you look at it, he could be another end of the bench type of guy or a guy that you look at. And let's face it, he's 6'6". When you look at Justin Edwards, 6'7", this could be a guy to say, hey, Justin, you're going to have to get your act in gear, dude. Because maybe this dude may be able to come on and take some minutes from you.
What he was taken 24th overall. Beauchamp was taken 24th overall in 2022. I can't remember how this played out, but the Sixers pick was 23, and they took David Roddy.
Yeah.
Did Roddy? He played for the Sixers later in his career, or was that pick owned by somebody else? Do you remember that?
You remember? So the thing about Roddy, that was a trade. You remember?
They
used Roddy. They traded him to the Memphis Grizzlies they got the guard. Oh my gosh, I forget the guy's name, but he started in place of Maxey at one stretch for Doc Rivers. When Doc Rivers took Maxey off the bench, he was a defensive-minded player. But that's what that was, because you remember what happened is that was right after Danny Green was injured, and the 76ers needed to find a spot for Danny Green, and they also were they were thinking about trading Matisse Thybulle to Houston because they wanted to get Eric Gordon, but they ended up trading David Roddy. And we all knew that they were going to trade that. Like, it wasn't a secret that they were going to trade the pick to get a player. So they ended up trading for him. Now, here's the thing about Beauchamp. So Beauchamp was a guy who had a huge upside, a high upside. Everybody liked him. But as soon as Doc Rivers became the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, it was one of those things, like, as he played a little bit, his best year might have been his rookie year. But then when Doc became the coach, everyone knew that it ain't going to work. Because Doc, here's the thing. He was a young player.
DeAnthony Melton, by the way.
DeAnthony Melton. Beauchamp is a young player. What does Doc Rivers do? He doesn't really like playing young players at all. He doesn't. Think of Isaiah Joe, who he cut. Think of Charles Bassey, who he cut. Think of all these other guys. So when Doc came, the writing was on the wall for Beauchamp. It really was. And everyone knew it. So, he's a guy that the 76ers could get. And, it could help out a little bit. Like, he could help out. I think, for an Exhibit 10, and all you're doing is giving him a $75,000 bonus for now to look at him. Oh, man, I see it. This is what I see. I see right now the 76ers are right now paying attention to what happens around the league. If a player gets waived from one of these teams who they deem that can help them, they'll probably sign that player, right? If not, what they'll do is a guy like Barlow is probably going to get elevated from the two-way to a full-fledged contract. And then what happens is a guy like Beauchamp will get a two-way deal because that type of athleticism and what he can do help. Because let's face it, you're trying to get as many weapons to play alongside Tyrese Maxey. I mean, he ain't helping the Sixers playing for the Blue Coats. I mean, no offense, but you might want to bring him up. And I can see that being a path that the Sixers can go to.
Fair enough. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta. This is Locked On 76ers. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. As things are ramping up here, to use that word for us, as the season gets closer and closer, we've noticed you guys have been great in the comments. You guys have been great with the views and all that stuff. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. Continue to like and subscribe. We'd love to have you in there. We'd also love to get all your takes in there as well. Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. For your second listen, go check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For Keith Pompey, I'm Marc Farzetta. Talk to you guys tomorrow on Locked On 76ers.